From Neural Newscast, this is Deep Dive, exploring the moments that shape today.
Welcome to Deep Dive. Today, we are looking back at a date that fundamentally altered our relationship with technology and the environment. It is a day defined by both the heights of human observation and the depths of industrial failure.
It's April 26, 2026, and while this date marks significant births and scientific breakthroughs, it is shadowed by one of the most sobering reminders of vulnerability in human history. That shadow is the Chernobyl nuclear disaster.
In the early hours of this day in 1986, in what was then the Soviet Union, an experiment at the Chernobyl power station went catastrophically wrong. What started as a safety test ended in the worst nuclear accident the world had ever seen.
It is a story of human error compounded by design flaws. Engineers at the settlement of Pripyat, just north of Kyiv, were attempting an electrical engineering test on the number 4 reactor. They wanted to see if the turbine could power emergency water pumps using only its own momentum during a power failure.
The irony, Talia, is that to conduct this safety test, they actually disabled the automatic safety systems. They ran the reactor at an unstable power level and, in a desperate move to regain control, removed too many control rods. When they finally tried to shut it down at 1:23 a.m., the design of those rods actually triggered the disaster.
Those rods had graphite tips. Instead of slowing the reaction, those 200 graphite tips facilitated it the moment they entered the core. The resulting steam and chemical explosion blew the 2,000-ton roof right off the reactor, releasing 50 tons of radioactive material into the atmosphere.
The immediate human cost was 32 lives in the opening days, but the fallout was immense. What strikes me is the initial secrecy. The Soviet authorities only admitted to the accident after Swedish monitoring stations, hundreds of miles away at the Forsmark plant, detected radiation levels 40% higher than normal and realized the wind was blowing from the east.
And then there's Pripyat itself. Over 47,000 people were evacuated in a matter of hours. They were told it was temporary, to only take identity papers and essentials. Most of them never saw their homes again. Today, Pripyat is a ghost town, a derelict snapshot of the 1980s being slowly reclaimed by the forest.
It remains a haunting monument to the consequences of technical overreach. It eventually led to the permanent closure of the entire plant in 2000 and the construction of the massive new safe confinement arch, which was finally slid into place in 2016 to secure the site for the next century.
While we are talking about the environment and how we document the natural world, we should mention that April 26th is also the birthday of a man who captured nature with unparalleled detail. John James Audubon was born in 1785.
Audubon is such a fascinating figure. He was a French-American naturalist and painter whose work, The Birds of America, is still considered one of the finest ornithological achievements. He didn't just paint birds, he insisted on showing them in their natural habitats, often life-sized, which required massive pages known as double elephant folios.
It was a monumental task for that era. He documented hundreds of species by traveling the American wilderness. That same drive to observe and record the human condition defines our next birthday as well, though through a literary lens. Bernard Malamud was born on this day in 1914.
Malamud was a giant of Jewish American literature. He won the Pulitzer Prize for The Fixer in 1967. A harrowing story of injustice. Many people might recognize the title of his first novel, The Natural, which became a classic film. He had this incredible ability to weave together the struggle of everyday life with a sense of the spiritual, Talia.
Speaking of being a natural, our third birthday today belongs to a man who mastered a completely different type of discipline. Jet Li, the world-renowned martial artist and actor, was born in 1963.
His trajectory is remarkable. He was a national wushu champion in China several times over before he ever stepped onto a film set. He became a massive star in Asia with films like Shaolin Temple and eventually a global icon through roles in Fearless and Lethal Weapon 4.
He brought a level of technical precision and grace to action cinema that few can match. It's interesting, Benjamin, how today spans these themes of precision, from the mastery of martial arts to the catastrophic failure of technical precision at Chernobyl.
That need for precision extends to how we measure the Earth itself. Today is also Richter Scale Day, honoring the birth of Charles Richter in 1900. Before his work, there was no objective way to compare the power of different earthquakes.
Richter was an American seismologist who gave us the logarithmic scale. This meant that each whole number increase on the scale represents a tenfold increase in measured amplitude. It was a revolutionary way to quantify the massive energy differences between seismic events.
He first utilized the scale for the 1935 Pleasant Valley tremor in Montana. By moving to this system, he allowed scientists to standardize earthquake data globally. It shifted seismology from anecdotal reports to a rigorous, data-driven science.
It's a perfect example of how scientific clarity helps us build more resilient cities. We can't stop the Earth from moving, but thanks to Richter, we can measure that movement and design our infrastructure accordingly.
From the ornithological paintings of Audubon to the seismic scales of Richter and even the tragic lessons of Chernobyl, April 26th shows us the many ways humans try to map, master, and sometimes simply survive the world around them.
It is a day that reminds us how much we have learned and how much we still have to protect. Thank you for listening. For more, visit deepdive.neuralnewscast.com.
We'll be back tomorrow with another look into the moments that shaped our world. Deep Dive is AI-assisted, human-reviewed. Explore history every day on Neural Newscast.
This has been Deep Dive on Neural Newscast, exploring the moments that shape today.